Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Garhdo Goes Geek. Yeah, welcome back. It's been a long time. I usually do the podcast and occasionally streaming. I started streaming Half-Life 2. I was streaming directly from the Xbox because the Xbox does have Twitch streaming for that. I was enjoying it. I only got part of the way through the game. I haven't been able to finish it, so it'd be nice to actually go back and do that. And obviously, I was releasing podcast episodes, and I had plenty planned. I had plenty that had already been delayed, and that's kind of fallen by the wayside as well. And a lot of that is because, I've just had a lot of problems with my own mental health. Like, a lot of problems with my own mental health. I've had a lot of problems with mental health. A lot of problems with mental health. Yeah, things have been tough. Originally, people thought it was PTSD related. It just seems to be just depression, and it's hard. I know a lot of, I'm a trained mental health first aider. I've been through CBT training before, which is cognitive behavioural therapy. I've done all that before, so I'm aware of what I should be doing. I'm not necessarily the best at it. I'm not necessarily the best at looking after myself. I do take antidepressants, which I've spoken about before. I'm very honest about the fact that I take antidepressants because there seems to be a sort of stigma against antidepressants and against using medication for your mental health. The medication for your mental health is designed to stimulate your brain to do what it doesn't do naturally. So you are essentially taking, like people saying, oh, you're taking a chemical compound. It's like, yes, you are, but you are taking a chemical compound to replace the chemical compounds that your brain does not naturally receive or create. Usually dopamine or serotonin, which are, hormones that your brain should accept and, or should generate. And a lot of times they're in your head already. Your brain just won't pick them up. Antidepressant medication is designed to help your brain take up those natural hormones that are just there. So there shouldn't be a stigma with antidepressants. I think there is. I don't think there should be. But that's why I am open about my own mental health struggles. And mental health is important to me. There's a reason why I keep talking about it. It is important to me. So obviously I've been struggling with my own mental health for several months, pretty much since back in April, May time was where it really started to hit. But I think it's actually, like, looking back, it's probably been a thing since I lost a job I really enjoyed towards the end of last year, probably a few months before then, because it was one of the things that I think led to the loss of that job. So yeah, it's been a pretty long, pretty severe mental health episode, and unfortunately I don't expect it to get much better anytime soon. But that said, things are slowly improving. Slowly. Key emphasis is on slowly. And so I wanted to talk about some of the things that I've been doing in the meantime. And, give some updates on when you can expect to see more from me, when I might be streaming again, when I might be posting podcasts again. So let's have a look at what I have been doing, shall we? So the first one that I'm going to show everyone is the blog that I've been working on. Right, so this is a blogspot page that I started a few months ago, mainly to sort of, again, originally the first blog was kind of an update on everything. But yes, so the Garhdo Goes Geek blog there. Yeah, garhdogoesgeek.blogspot.com. So this is my blog where I have set up just a few posts about things I want to discuss. So you can see it there. I've done the two on the landing page there are How to Watch Star Wars and the Power Rangers All Killer No Filler Watch Order Part 1. And that's because one of the things that I have been enjoying doing on there is watch orders, because this is something that I quite like anyway. Like, I did a whole post about how it's a passion project of mine, and then proceeded to release a watch order for the 24th century of Star Trek. So that's, I was mainly looking at Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager, because they kind of overlap a lot, and sort of working out like what bits were essential, and what the best things to watch are. But also talking about like what episodes introduce characters or plot lines that come back later on, which is obviously quite a big thing. Like, some episodes of the Next Generation lay important groundwork for Deep Space Nine. Some episodes of Deep Space Nine and Voyager lay important groundwork for things like Lower Decks and Prodigy. And then obviously Picard at the end of the season picks up on a lot of plot threads throughout the entire era. But then I also mentioned, elements that might be important if you were to read the Star Trek Pocketbooks novels, or perhaps play Star Trek Online. Other bits that you might want to be aware of. But not just talking about watch orders, but also talking perhaps about the best way to watch something. Like, for example, I did a Marvel Cinematic Universe watch order, where I mainly put it in timeline order, but also there are some things which I think are best to watch outside of the timeline order. Like, for example, Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel, I think, is best watched between Infinity War and Endgame, as a bit of a breather between the two films. Because obviously they're two very intense films back to back. And I also put in a multiverse section where I could explain like all the previous Marvel movies, a lot of which seem to be coming back. And I even, with that, also fitted in the TV series, so the Netflix stuff, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Runaways, Cloak and Dagger, but then also, sort of titled each section. So, the first part is everyone assembling, then like at phase 4 and phase 5 so far, as much as it's called the multiverse saga, to me it seems very much more generational. Talking about like generations or legacy seems to be the recurring theme with these new heroes that they're introducing. So people like Miss Marvel, Kate Bishop as Hawkeye, Yelena as the new Black Widow. It's Sam as Captain America. It's very much on legacy of these heroes. So that was the sort of vibe I was going for there. And I think the multiverse is going to play a much bigger part going forward. But also there's other elements that seem to be at play with the multiverse, like Into the Spider-Verse movies, which may tie in, may not. Or, not just those, but also the other Sony movies, things like Madam Web, Venom. It's very interesting to see what could be happening. So that's something I wanted to cover as well. I even put a fiction story that I wrote that I was very proud of. That went up there. One blog that I was quite proud of, which is this one here, the Warhammer love-hate relationship, I have actually recorded to turn into a podcast. I used the base of the blog here as a script almost for the podcast, because this was one that just came to me and I couldn't stop writing, and I ended up writing about 12,000 words on it. So obviously that's kind of like a thesis or a dissertation in terms of its length. Because I love Warhammer. I love quite a lot of Warhammer, but I also hate quite a lot of Warhammer, and the Warhammer fandom and everything else. So I wanted to, it relates somewhat to a podcast that I've done before, hence why I wanted to record it and release it as a podcast as well. So that's another one that I'm working on. So that one is currently, I've got fully recorded. I need to do some editing on it, and hopefully that can be up very, very soon. I was writing it and motivating myself to do the recording, that happened quite quickly. The motivation to do the other stuff, that's what takes time at the minute, and that's what I'm struggling with. So I am working on it, and obviously I'm still going to be working on these watch orders. Like, I've done how to watch Star Wars, like how would you approach Star Wars, you know. My favourite one is obviously the machete order, but now Star Wars is just so big that you can't really do the machete order anymore. So I was like, okay, well, if you were to watch an era of Star Wars, if you were to just watch the movies, what's the best way to approach it? So that's what I tried to look at there. And obviously I'm going to, you can see the drafts here. I'm doing a 23rd century Star Trek watch order. I'm doing, how to read comics. I'm working on a thought experiment, like what the MCU could look like if Marvel had the rights to all their characters from the start. I'm going to do an Arrowverse watch order. I'm even going to do a making of a podcast episode and kind of explain how I make my episodes, like from the ground up. I might even do that for my commission episode, because that is one I'm working on, which was the Skibbity Toilet series. I've started making notes on that. It is much deeper than I thought. Like, the reason I was able to use it as an April Fool's joke is because I've been told that there's this huge lore. But actually going in and watching it and kind of exploring it, yes, there is. And it's so much deeper than I thought. It's crazy. It's absolutely bizarre. So yeah, I'm going to be doing that, which should be a lot of fun. Oh, it's nuts, and it's a very interesting one, because not to spoil too much, but from a technical standpoint, like, it's all made through Source Filmmaker. But it starts as these irreverent, offbeat jokes, and then gradually becomes something really intense and really original, and with a lot of stuff that this guy has created himself, and or sourced from other people. And yeah, it's very impressive. Like, technically, on a technical level, the guy improves quite a lot as it's going forward. So yeah, I'm about halfway through that in terms of reviewing it and adding the notes. So hopefully that should be done soon. I did sit down, like, I'd watched some of it before, but it was a couple of days ago I sat down and actually started to make notes. And you're having to pause like 15-second videos to write several sentences on each one of them. It's very bizarre, but yeah, it's good. I'm enjoying it so far. So yeah, that's the blog. That's the main thing I've been working on. There's another one which, when I write it, I probably will also turn into a podcast, which is this why creatives shouldn't try to appeal to toxic fandom. Basically, if you're aware of sort of geek news at the minute, there's a story that's come out via Variety that a lot of major movie studios are looking at bringing in fan supergroups. And some people on the internet have already discussed this, how good or bad it is. And, a lot of my thoughts on it tie back to thoughts I was already having about toxic fandom, about right-wing grifters, things like that, which is also related to some of the stuff that I've discussed in the Warhammer blog. So that will also come together. So yes, let's have a look at what else I've been doing in the meantime. So this is the Reddit. I've been doing a subreddit for the podcast. I started it a couple of months ago. Well, I registered it a while ago, and barely did anything with it. 2 years ago, I registered it, intending to do stuff with it. A couple of months ago, I started sharing my first few episodes when I was updating them on YouTube and everything like that. They've all got new title sequences now. New title thumbnails, I should say, for every episode. Giving them new descriptions. I'm crediting everything properly. I'm going through and I'm really working on updating everything. So there's that aspect. I've slowly started doing that. I think again I got about halfway through creating the thumbnails, and then just struggled with the rest. I did a few of the updates and struggled with the rest. I kept trying to schedule them in, and it would get to the point like the alarm would go off and things might just go wrong, or I might just be struggling with life. So, what can you do at that point? And, I'm not sure what I can do. I'm not entirely sure what I can do. I've got my Ko-Fi here as well. This is something I've been working on. I've put commissions up on there. I want to try and get some more support for the podcast. Obviously, one of the commissions is sold out, which is the Law of the Skibbity Toilet one. Sold out. It was a one-off. Open commissions, so that if anyone wants me to do an episode, I can do it for them. Good chance it's probably one I've already got planned anyway. But obviously, because a lot of my plans kind of fell by the wayside, things like that might not be happening anytime soon. So there's that aspect. So now I'm going to take you into my actual folders and show you sort of what I work on and how everything works for me here. This is my Garhdo Goes Geek folder on my computer. So I have stuff relating to the banner image, which is obviously got redone not long ago. So I've got the original there, but I've got the new one. All the episode images, all the title images, everything's there. The thumbnails are the YouTube thumbnails for every episode. They're existing in PNG and JPEG format. The JPEG is what tends to be used on YouTube. It won't really accept the PNG, but I want to have the PNG version as well anyway. Just because if I want to then share it on Facebook or as a banner on YouTube or something like that, I've got that higher quality image there. So I've been doing that. You can see as they're loading up here down the page, up to a certain point, episode 47, which is the D&D one, they've all been updated with the new format. The rest have not. And then there's some here which were ones that I had planned that at the minute are kind of unscheduled episodes, but I am going to update them and have them ready just in case. So there's that aspect. The trailer was the one that we released recently. These musics here, I've got the new 2024 sign-off, which is going to be going up very soon on any future episodes. It's going to be mentioning some of the other upcoming things like the blog. I've started a letterbox page, which I'm hoping to work on. I've started I haven't really done much with it yet. One thing I have done, which I am quite proud of, if I can just get it up here, is a companion playlist. Oh, excuse me, on Spotify. Now, what this is for the most part instrumental music from things that I have spoken about on the podcast. So I've got music in here from the Marvel Universe. I've got music in here from Star Wars, Star Trek, Buffy, Mass Effect, the War of the Worlds. The Jeff Wayne War of the Worlds is on here. I've got songs from Cyberpunk, Doctor Who, and even Doom. I've got some of the new Doom soundtrack on here. Half-Life, Final Space, Resident Evil down here. Lord of the Rings, much more Star Wars. I really kind of need to organise it, and I'm not sure, because I tend to listen to a lot of my music on shuffle, but I want to actually kind of construct this as a playlist as well, so that, if you were to listen from one to the next, what would be the best way to do it. And I'm working on how to do that. Because obviously a lot of these songs are very, very different. But, you've got a lot of great people in here, I've got Godzilla music, Matrix music, Starship Troopers, Spider-Man, Jurassic Park, Beetlejuice there, Batman, Independence Day, Twin Peaks, So yeah, a lot of songs that I quite like, but some of them are very, very different in tone. Like some of them are quite heavy, quite rocky. Some of them have lyrics. Some of them don't have lyrics. Um, so it'll be interesting to try and arrange it as a podcast. And it's probably not finished yet. There's about 100, over 100 songs in it already, but it's probably not finished. There's plenty more songs I could put in. And again, I'm not sure whether to, like I said, because I listen to my music on shuffle, I'm not sure whether to have it structured as like a set playlist or have it as just a collection and recommend that you play shuffle. Um, because it might be better to cluster the songs together based on what I've been discussing, like in the order of the podcast. So obviously Marvel is one of the first things I talk about, so I'd have the Marvel music there at the top. So, we'll see. I haven't quite decided on that one yet. Anyway, YouTube episodes. This is the main part of the folder for Garhdo Goes Geek. So, there's the updates, obviously, which is where I've posted actual like podcast updates saying that this is what I'm working on, this is what the plan is, etc. Things like that. The main ones I did there were during the strike, but obviously there has been a more recent one, which was sort of a plan of what was going to happen, but then I kind of disappeared off the map. So, that's on me. The raw files, self-explanatory. Podcasts for the future. This is like the future folder. A lot of these are very, very loosely developed. Like, they are ideas, and I have a folder ready for the idea, but there's very little in most of these. In fact, there's nothing in quite a lot of them. They're just kind of there, prepared. The work in progress folder is where we're going to be sort of looking for the most part for what's coming up next. Now, as you can see, some of these files are numbered. So I've got things like the Jurassic Park file, the Resident Evil file, obviously because I was building up to the 100th episode of the podcast. So I had ideas of what I wanted to cover. And some things were going to be covered as reviews, although I'm not calling them reviews anymore. I'm actually going to go back and title all those episodes. And in fact, some of the shorter ones I might even be adding to. Like Tales of the Teenage Ninja Turtles, I'm probably going to be add something... sorry, not Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that's the series. Mutant Mayhem, the film. For Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I went back and listened to the episode there, and I didn't really talk about it much. Like, what I said was good, but I was trying to encourage people to go and see it. Now that the film's out and it's been out on home streaming and everything like that, I want to go back and add to it and put more into the episode. And obviously now there's the spin-off series Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I might put in a bit about that as well, and just kind of expand that a bit more. So that's one of the plans that I have sort of in the background, in the back of my head to do. But yeah, the key is not to try and overextend myself, because I recognise the problems I have, and I recognise how hard it can be to motivate myself and to do some of the things that I need to do. So I'm really trying to be careful and not overextend myself. But I have a lot of good ideas of things I want to cover, and it's trying to put that focus in, I suppose. I mean, Neuromancer. I started reading Neuromancer for the podcast. William Gibson's Neuromancer. It's on there as a files right here. So I had a plan to read this and review it. I have read, I think, 2-3 chapters. It's very good. Very weird. And I like weird. But I also haven't picked it up and touched it in a while. Now, yeah, I'm quite good with remembering where I am with stuff. So that's not necessarily an issue. Like, I read comics quite a lot, and I'm very, very good at like I'm currently taking a break from the X-Men comics that I was reading, going back and reading some classic Marvel stuff. I still remember where I was in all the X-Men plot lines. So it's just part of the tism. So I'm not worried too much about struggling with the plot when I pick it back up. It's like with games. If I pick up a game back up, I can usually remember all the plot beats. It's remembering how to play it that I might struggle with. So there's that. But yeah, obviously I was leading up to episode 100, and some of these episodes have actually got quite a bit recorded for them already. So some of them not so much, but like for example the Jurassic Park episode. I have most of that recorded. I've got all of the first 3 films recorded, and I've got the frame done for the first part for the thumbnail and everything. So that is probably still going to be coming out very soon. Might not be the next episode I do, but the hope is to get that out. Same with things like the X-Men Part 2, which again I've done quite a bit on. Some of the others though, like Fallout, I was going to do a review of the Fallout television series. I might not do that at the minute. I might do a bit of a broader discussion on Fallout as a franchise, but I might not do that immediately. I might still keep the idea, but not do it straight away. Things like Discworld, Resident Alien, Buffyverse, things I wanted to kind of discuss, or Twin Peaks that I want to discuss with one or both of my partners, either Tallulah or Zulu. That will be something that I plan to do at some point. This is the Warhammer blog where I've got I'm sort of in the process of doing that. And I've got all these pictures that I'm going to use, but I haven't actually constructed the frames yet for the video. But these are all the pictures that I'm planning to use in those frames. So it all makes sense, and it's all fully recorded with an intro, outro, etc. I just haven't actually ordered it yet. Same with the Half-Life, the Twitch one. I've got some bits ready for when I do the next stream, but I'm not sure when that's going to be. And that stream probably won't have my glorious face on. That'll probably just be done downstairs in the evening, streaming directly to Twitch, because I'd rather focus on the gameplay than focus on my face for something like that. This is me. This lighting setup wasn't easy, and I also can't stream from 360 to remote play on the Xbox app. I don't think, like a 360 game. Even though it's done through the Series X, I don't think it works in that same way. I don't know why. I've tried it before because I tried to do the remote streaming through my phone ages ago, and I was trying to stream. Wasn't a Half-Life. I think it was Fallout 3, and I was trying to stream that to my phone, and it wouldn't let me. So I don't know why. I don't know why that might not work. But yeah, there's things here that obviously, are still very much on the planning list. So Doom, I'm still planning to do a podcast on because I've become a huge fan of Doom since I started playing it a couple of years ago. Star Trek Picard, Star Trek Prodigy, I'm both hoping to do episodes on because I've got a lot of things to say about them. Marvel Phase 5, I want to use that podcast to get through Phase 5 because I haven't really sat and watched much of it yet. Part 2 of the X-Men comics retrospective, that's definitely coming. Resident Evil might not be coming anymore. Jurassic Park, just because it's almost done, I want to get it out as soon as possible. And then others like, Godzilla I'm very much looking forward to. Some others that I maybe have done quite a bit of work on, like Has Been Hotel, where I've watched the series and I kind of wrote some notes. I might wait, and I might wait until there's season 2, or I might watch Hell of a Boss and do them both together, because they're kind of like part of this shared universe. So yeah, there's a lot that's kind of up in the air. But the goal is to have a lot of this stuff coming at some point in the future. The 100th episode plan is still very definitely the Cornetto trilogy, though. That is happening. And it's going to be just like the 50th episode was, where we all sat around and discussed Red Dwarf. We're going to do the same thing with the Cornetto trilogy. All three of us are very much looking forward to it. It's definitely going to happen. Not sure exactly when, but it will happen. So yeah, I think at the minute I'm up to 80 odd episodes. So it's when we get to episode 100 that we're going to have that. So yeah, that's that for now. That's roughly where we're at the minute, in terms of what's coming, what's in the pipeline. So like I said, the blog is going to be, where you're going to see more immediate updates from me in the future. The Warhammer love-hate relationship and the Skibidi Toiler are the 2 next planned episodes. The Warhammer one will probably come first, just because it's already done. Skibidi Toiler will come very soon afterwards, and the person who commissioned me for it should be very happy off the back of that. Yeah, I'm having a lot more fun on it than I thought I would. So yeah, keep an eye on the blog, keep an eye on the link tree. Everything will be up there soon. Like I said, I'm going to have new stuff up on YouTube, new stuff up on audio. I'm hoping to get the rest of Half-Life 2 done very, very soon. So hopefully we can stream that soon. Maybe even later this week. I'm not sure. I'm definitely in a more positive place than I have been for a while. And Tallulah was actually saying earlier that she feels this is really helping me, like giving me something to focus on doing the stream. I have even seen a posted thing earlier for a Mind stream, like the channel Mind, and they do what was it, the mental health charity Mind, and they can do sponsored streams for like 15 or even 24 hours, and I was like, ooh, I could do a 24-hour stream. That's why I do Doom. I do like all the classic Dooms and just blitz through them. I'm terrible at Doom, but I think it could be fun. So yeah, there's that, or I could just waste 24 hours trying to, I don't know, put Cyberpunk on and try and speedrun that from a brand new gameplay or something. I don't know. But either way, that sort of stuff could be cool. I'm also thinking I might do, I don't know whether it should be a blog, whether it should be a side hustle. Like, a load of people say that you should do like second channels for content that's off your main content. I want to basically do a read of a lot of comics. Basically, I don't know. I'm gonna show people this website because I think it's great. I think it is a great resource, and it is this website called continuityguide.net. Okay, and it is a Marvel-based reading order guide, and the people who do it do a absolutely fantastic job. And the main focus they've started with, look at that, over 10,000 comics, all linked through Marvel Unlimited, which I have a subscription for, which I think is amazing. I think if you want to read Marvel comics, Marvel Unlimited is probably one of the best services out there, because it has not everything, but so much. So much. And I like myself my big challenges, and like I said, I read comics pretty much every day. I use them to read when I go to bed. And I want to read pretty much every Marvel comic in the main Marvel universe. Now, this guy has set up an existing reading order because from the 2000s onwards, Marvel kind of linked its storylines, like one big event led into the next big event and so on, and then eventually everything kind of comes together. So like things that start here in Planet X and Disassembled then lead into House of M, which then, elements of House of M lead through to Civil War, World War Hulk, Secret Invasion, Dark Reign, Siege. Siege kind of follows off on stuff from Secret Invasion, Dark Reign, Civil War. Avengers vs. X-Men is like the culmination of a lot of stuff that's happened before. Then you get like the Ultimate Universe, you get Infinity, Original Sin, etc. Right? So he's done this. The people behind this website have done this huge reading order, and like I said, you're up to I think 22, 23 chapters. So the 23rd chapter hasn't come out yet. The reason the 23rd chapter hasn't come out yet is because he is working on the pre-modern era, and he's going back and looking at all the classic Marvel comics from like Fantastic Four 1 that have led up to the modern era. And he's not including everything on his read order, but I want to. I want to do it, and I want to read everything. I've always wanted to read everything. I've read everything Ultimate several years ago. Everything in the Ultimate comic line I read several years ago. Part of me wants to go on to Marvel Unlimited and read everything and use this reading order here as a basis. So far he's done up to Secret Wars, and so he's getting quite far. But there's just huge bits that he's missed out. Like there's a lot of the Ghost Rider Moon Knight stuff that's been missed out. I want to include all of that. So this is my goal. Is I want to sit and do this. I've been going back and reading a lot of classic comics recently. I've been reading a lot of big crossovers from like the 80s, 90s that I'd never really read before. So the idea of going back and rereading everything, it's a daunting task. But I kind of want to do another reason why I kind of want to do it is because I was trying to do some research for an idea I had, because I like to toy with ideas and thought experiments and stuff like that, and I wanted to try and find a in-universe chronicle of the Marvel Universe history. And as far as I can tell, there doesn't seem to be one. The easiest thing is probably the history of the Marvel Universe, but that kind of skims over a lot of stuff. So, it's a series by Mark Waid. It's a very, very good series, but it skims over a lot of stuff, and it puts stuff in kind of a chronological order, which is all well and good, but I wanted to kind of look at the release order, because there's a lot of things that were added as like flashback stories, but were added later on to develop these characters. Like Wolverine's origin, for example, came out in like 2006. So that's the sort of stuff I wanted to look at. And so part of me wants to do this and then actually do that Marvel Chronicle, actually do it myself. So that's a plan I have. And I'm not sure whether to do that as its own podcast, whether to do that as its own YouTube series, or what. I have no idea. Because it is something that I will be doing anyway, just kind of in the background. It's like, since I wrote that Star Trek watch order, I've been watching my own watch order. Like, I'm getting to the point now where I'm about to watch The Best of Both Worlds. So I'm right at the end of Season 3 of Next Generation. I started with Encounter at Farpoint, the pilot. And I'm going to be going through, and because I've seen quite a lot of Next Generation, but I've not seen everything. I've seen every episode of Deep Space Nine. I love Deep Space Nine. It's my favourite series. I have not seen every episode of Voyager. So my goal was, let's just watch it all. I know what the watch order should be. Let's watch it. So that's my plan. Because I've never done it. And I wanted to sit and I wanted to do it. And that's in my evenings. I watch like an episode a day. An episode, maybe 2 episodes a day. And, I've gotten quite far with that already. So there's nothing stopping me doing that sort of stuff in the background. And same with this Marvel one. So if that's something you'd like to see, you'd like to see me do like these kind of reviews in progress, because that's, like I said, that's the sort of stuff I like to do. It gives me, I've done it before with the Ultimate Marvel comics. I did that as a challenge. I tried to do the same thing with Marvel Now. I've recently done the X-Men Krakoan era run. So, just trying to tie it all in like that. And again, with like film and TV marathons, like in the lead up to Endgame, I watched everything in the MCU. Between January and the release date at the end of April for Endgame, I watched everything in the MCU. Everything I could get hold of legally. Cloak and Dagger Season 2 wasn't out at that point. And I think Daredevil Season 3 had just come out. And Runaways I couldn't find anywhere. But everything else I watched, and I watched it in order. And I blogged it. I did like a live blog on Reddit covering it. And actually I went back and used a lot of the notes for that when I did my when I went back and looked at the Defenders series, and sort of used those notes as kind of the basis for a lot of the things that I spoke about there, because for a lot of it my opinions really hadn't changed. So yeah, it's always kind of things that are on the back of my mind, things that I can do. So if that's something you would like to see more of, then I can also do that as well. Like I said, I don't know yet whether it should be part of Garhdo Goes Geek or whether it should be something else. Like maybe I'll do Garhdo Goes Geek Make Mine Marvel and do like a Marvel Chronicle there, or whatever. I don't know. It could be like a sub-series on the channel. No idea yet. No idea as yet. But all I know is it's a plan, and it's a plan I have, so I can do that. I don't know what else to say right now. If anyone would like to follow me or support me, I'd be very grateful for it. I am so grateful to everyone who follows this podcast. So grateful to everyone who follows me, whether they follow me on YouTube, whether they follow me on audio, whether they follow me on Twitch. I'm sure there's probably a lot of overlap with all of those people. I don't care. I am so grateful for all of you. I love all of you so much. Like, you have no idea what a positive boon to my mental health it is that you guys are all out there enjoying this content. So thank you so much for all the support, for all the patience. It really does mean everything. Thank you for joining us here at Garhdo Goes Geek. Your support of this podcast means the absolute world to me, and I am grateful to everyone who listens. If you wish to engage more with myself and my co-hosts, we have a few other ways to do this. Firstly, if you go to the link tree linked in the description, you'll find links not just to this podcast on every platform, but also to our Discord server, where you can interact directly with all of us, and a link to a dedicated subreddit for this podcast. There is also a link to a supporting Blogspot page, where I'll be posting supporting material for this podcast, including progress updates, schedules, and watch orders for the content I cover should you wish to watch along with me. I also have a link to a Spotify playlist featuring some of the music items I've discussed in the podcast. You can also add me on Facebook if you so wish, or follow on Twitch, where I'll be hosting a weekly stream. Finally, there is also a link in there to Ko-Fi, where you have the option to leave a one-time tip if you so wish, or alternatively to commission your own podcast episode. So if there is a topic you would like me to cover that I have yet to do so, then you can request I cover it for a small sponsorship fee. However, if you do not have the means to do so, then all I ask is that if you could please like, subscribe, and share this podcast with anyone else you think may like it. I love you all. Until next time, bye for now.